I'll just grab the microphone and you start.
No, excited to get back. Obviously last regular season game in Hilton, senior night, and just our fans have been awesome all year through the ups and downs, and really encourage everybody. Senior Day and Alumni Reunion Weekend, I always talked about, are two major events and days for our program, and I think we do Senior Day first class with what we do in the locker room before and what we do before the game on the floor, and then afterwards, and just encourage. Hopefully we'll have another great crowd, and then really encourage everybody to stay afterwards, hear from Mike and Prentice, and then then we'll see everybody in Kansas City in a week.
Or Manhattan.
But or in Manhattan, the ones that go to Manhattan.
In what ways have Mike and Prentice, impacted the program?
Mike's going to leave here as a champion, as a conference champion. I was looking at, I think since 2005, only two programs have won the Big 12 tournament more than once. Us in Kansas, and so he's. We did a thing today. I think we've got the fourth most conference tournament titles since 2000 of any BCS program, and so obviously he leaves here will leave here a champion, and was really impactful with that team last year. And Mike's a guy that's gonna, that has his degree, that's gonna play basketball for a long time and do really well in whatever business that he chooses. But I think he's represented this program and been an everyday guy. I appreciate that. Prentice obviously played for Larry, had a lot of connections to Iowa State, before getting here, just because of his relationship with Larry. Had a really good sit-out year for us last year. I think was obviously really close with Mario and Tyrese and Mike. Those guys were really close, and thought he really impacted that team last year with the way he competed and practiced every day. And I think Prentice is, obviously represented our program the right way, on and off the floor. He brings a great deal of toughness and an edge, to our team, and he's another guy that's handled himself well through all the ups and the downs that this season has had for us, and so very appreciative of that. And he's a guy that's going to go on. He's graduated as well, and he's working on another degree now, but he's got his degree, and whether it's basketball or outside of basketball, he's going to do really good things.
What's the dynamic, do you feel like, either on senior day or just overall, when you have two guys that aren't four-year players saying their goodbyes? Obviously Mike's been here for 3 years, played for 2, and then Prentice 1 for 2, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the one great thing about this place is, once you come here, they kind of wrap their arms around you. They got the saying "loyal, forever true" here with Iowa State, but I think they wrap their arms around you, and the fan base really embraces you and really appreciative of all the efforts that you've given on and off the floor, whether it's basketball-wise or in the community service-wise, because it's kind of a prereq here. If you're going to play here and do it the right way, you got to be a good player, but you got to represent yourself the right way, and you got to be awesome in the community, and you got to be able to give back. And so, Nader texted me the other day. He was a guy. He was here 3 years. Burke was here, 2.5 years. Those guys love this place the same way, but the 4 and 5 year guys, obviously they're here longer. It's going to be maybe a deeper connection because of the longevity of them being here. But I think Jamal Tinsley, when he came back for the reunion a couple years ago, he played 2 years here, right? Man, he was in awe getting back here. And so I think everyone has their own story. Everyone's been part of different teams and different coaches. But I think that this place is very unique. Turn on the TV, I talk about it all the time. There's not many programs that have the fan base that we do. And I think every one of these guys really appreciate that.
In that vein, so you've been doing this for 4 years, so it's one person out of 40,000, but does that heckler last year have any effect on how you guys do things, or no?
No, not at all. Not at all. That was just an unfortunate situation. And we went on and won the Big 12 tournament, so that felt good, but no, because I don't think you can get caught up in that. It was a tough time. We had played so well for so long last year, and then we went through a kind of a 2.5 week stretch. We weren't playing very good, but the character of our team showed to be able to to really be dominant in Kansas City. I mean, we were really good down there. Beat Baylor by double figures, Kansas by double figures. Kansas State was a dogfight. And so, you know, I think senior day is really powerful. You know, that was an unfortunate incident, but that's going to happen every now and then, you know. But as me, as the head coach and leader, I got to make sure, you know, I'm always going to do right by my guys and do everything first class. And that's why we do it the way we do it. And if that happens, that's one out of, we got a lot of good fans here. And so it's just unfortunate. I wouldn't think that happened again.
But the turnovers continue to be pretty high for this team. What needs to change against West Virginia to keep those?
You got to take care of the ball. I mean, that's, you know, our guard play's got to be really good. We got to make sure we have good spacing. This is a game. This is really not a set game. This is a player's game from the standpoint. You got to keep the floor space. You got to land on 2 feet. You got to move the ball. You got to make extra pass. And then we have open shots. We got to knock them down. You know, West Virginia, they've struggled on the road a little bit from a standpoint of scoring. I think you got to, when you really look at it, you really got to beat West Virginia by defending them, and so you can play in transition and not go against all the all the full court pressure, and then the overplaying. You know, when the defense is set, but we've got to do a great job of not having any live ball turnovers and giving them baskets off that. Watching the Texas game this morning, I think Texas was like -20 something in Morgantown. And at some point in that game, Texas was +8, and so turnover battle will be huge. We got to do a great job with that.
What kind of opportunities are still this week, especially for Rajier and Trey at that point guard spot against a team like West Virginia, but then also kind of a tough team against Kansas State if they continue with that point guard role?
Yeah, I mean, you look at, Oklahoma State's a game where it's about making plays because of the way they defend. Obviously, this West Virginia game is like that as well, and so both of those guys, as freshmen and sophomore, are going to get a lot more experience, you know, going against another high-level defense. And then Bruce's team's always been very fundamentally sound defensively, tough, physical, not as much the overplaying as West Virginia, Oklahoma State, but very, very fundamentally sound and really, really tough. And so, 2 really tough matchups when you are going against defensive-minded teams.
Obviously, West Virginia's struggled lately, I think, basically because of offense. Their defense has been a constant. What's the key to piercing that, not only the full court, but they're so good in the half court too, and defending all the way out to the 3-point line?
Well, I think it goes back to we got to be good defensively to where we're not just getting overpowered in the paint. We're not giving up second chance points. We're not putting them on the free throw line, because then the game slows down. They're able to set their press. They're able to, you know, get their half court defense setting their pressure. If we're to play off misses, we can play in transition. We can get the ball moving against a broken defense. We can get some rim runs and some 1-to-5s and 1-to-2-to-5s. And so I think that, you know, I was just talking with Danielle, who has the scout. I was like, man, you're trying to figure out an offensive game plan to spread them out and attack the basket and make good decisions. But man, really, you've got to be really good against them defensively. And if you can do that, it'll open up a lot of things for us offensively. But we've got to be good offensively in the full. You know, we didn't turn it over in the full court against them. I think one time we just kind of made a bonehead play, you know, to where our guys, they're going too fast. Our turnovers came in the full court. Excuse me, in the half court, and that's what we can't have those turnovers. But if we do turn it over, man, it got to be dead ball turnovers. You know, where we rather for post feed, we rather throw it too far and throw it out of bounds than give them, I guess, a live ball turnover and get easy baskets, because they are a team that, if you look, I mean, they're in the 50s scoring on the road, and they didn't shoot it great against Oklahoma, and hopefully they have another shooting night like that tomorrow.
With you guys kind of wanting to play to some degree inside out, how difficult is that against this team with their front court?
Well, that's why we hopefully we get misses, and if we can play misses, you know, if you watched when you were there, you watched the game. But against Oklahoma State, we were able to get, when we got misses, we were able to a lot easier paint touches, whether that's paint touched by a post feed or paint touched by Rossier coming off the middle ball screen. So I think it goes back to defense. But you know, if they're switching ball screens, it gives us a chance to really try to attack and throw it in there to Solomon. If not, you know, Solomon, George, Mike, whoever it is, we just got to make a conscious effort to go in there, but they've got to take their time and not get caught up in Sheway and Culver's size. You know, we just got to go right at them. And our numbers in the paint last game weren't very good. That's a big goal. We got to get that better this game.
You're gonna, excuse me, the roster's gonna turn over by at least 5 this year, 4 for high school kids and David, at least. You've got the 2 seniors you're losing were sit-out guys. What's the perfect roster?
A bunch of really good players.
You know what I'm talking about. The whole, you know, the board in your office or whatever. You know, what would be the perfect roster?
Do you want like position wise?
No, I want how many each class.
Oh, I mean, in a perfect world, you'd love to have about a class of 3-3-3-4, 3-4-3-3, to where senior classes are no more than 4. You know, some years it's going to be 5. You know, but 3-3-3-4, 3-4-3-3, but in that range right there. And you know, you look at next year. You know, kind of be, you know, you're almost young again, and when you look at seniors, Solomon's only really your only senior. But I think when you have guys that leave early, and you know that kind of your roster can't get old right away. And we got to continue to work to just get our roster a little bit older, and that takes time. But we're excited. We got a really good freshman class coming in. We got to address some recruiting in the spring. But if you saw, you know, 2 years ago, you know, we went from moved our win total 10 wins and got back to the tournament, won conference championship, and 2 guys get a freshman get drafted, and a senior get drafted that probably wasn't on draft boards when he transferred here. So a lot of really good things have happened, and so we've got to take that right mindset, same mindset as we go into this spring. We've got Javen obviously sitting out, who can add some pieces at a couple different positions for us. We'll have some experience coming back, and then make the necessary, you know, changes and the things we got to do in recruiting to get back where we need to be.
Not to jump ahead, but since you mentioned it there, what are you thinking that you look for in spring recruiting position? I mean, is there a certain thing that you think next year's team will need?
Yeah, I don't want to get too caught up. I mean, talking about next year and recruiting and all that, but I mean, you know, when the season ends, address our roster, you know, and then go from there. I don't want to talk. I mean, I know Randy was asking about the roster, what a perfect roster looks like from a classification. You know, you don't want to have 6, 7 seniors, you know, in your class. It's just too many. And I think in men's basketball, if you can keep it between 3 and 5 is great. But you know, we do have a couple open scholarships, or you know, what do we have right now? 1, I think, maybe. You know, well, that may be working.
You're jumping ahead of yourself.
So then we don't have any. So there's no reason to talk about it.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.